What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Veet, and we're back here on the first Descendant. In today's video, we're going over how to defeat the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man is the last normal mode Colossus boss that you fight in the game. So right before you get into hard mode, you're going to be fighting the Hanged Man, which is a very unique boss and very different than every other Colossus you fight in the game. This one has a very unique immunity phase that can act, if you do it incorrectly, if you do the mechanic incorrectly, it'll actually cause a wipe on the entire party and you'll fail the mission. So in order to defeat the Hanged Man, you actually have control over when it goes in and out of immunity, unlike any other boss in the game where it sort of just sparks the immunity phase and you have to deal with however you get them out of immunity. But in this case, in the Hanged Man's case, you actually create the immunity for the Hanged Man, and you can also take them out of immunity. If you don't properly put him in and out of immunity, he'll release this charged attack that'll wipe, instant kill everybody in your party, and ultimately leaving you to fail. And the way to do this is the Hanged Man, with, as its name implies, is hanging in the middle of the arena. If you take a close look, in the middle of the arena below the Hanged Man is a totem, and this totem has these valves on the front, left, right, back of it that sort of fills up over time with this pinkish goo. If you allow the pinkish goo to get to the top, it'll cause the wipe. It'll cause the wipe for the entire party. Over time, when you're doing damage to the Hanged Man, these valves will be filling up. So you'll have to be on the lookout to make sure the valves don't fill up. And the only way to reduce the plasma that's in the valves is to put the Hanged Man into an immunity. And the way to do that is if you run to the Hanged Man, to that totem that's in the middle of the arena, you can pull this cube. You pull the cube out, it'll cause the Hanged Man to go in immunity. And that'll completely stop the valves from filling up. And the way to reduce the plasma that's in the valves, so while they're in their immunity phase, they have this weak point that's in their mouth. Just like any other immunity that's in the game, there's always that weak point that you can shoot at to get them out of immunity quicker. And in the Hanged Man's case, it's in his mouth. So you'll have one person in your party to be the runner. And what the runner does is they take the cube, they run around the map trying to survive, and the other three shooters will shoot the mouth. And instead of weakening and getting the Hanged Man out of immunity, what that does is the more you destroy the weak point in the mouth, the lower the plasma gets in the totem. So once the plasma is back down to 0 or low, the runner will then put the cube back into the totem in the center of the arena, which will cause the Hanged Man to go back into a damage state. So you can start damaging them again and pull them out of immunity. So you'll need the party to be aware of when you're doing damage, the plasma buildup. You kind of want it to hang around half. Once the plasma builds up to about half, the runner should then go, or the team should have informed the runner to then go and grab the cube, spark the immunity phase, and then the gunners will then shoot the mouth until the plasma goes back down to a fraction or back down to 0. You have to do this over and over and over again until you eventually defeat the Hanged Man. But it's a very unique mechanic, very interesting, and it's tough. It's tough because it requires team coordination more than any other boss probably in the game at this point. Now taking a look at the stats. I mean, the Hanged Man is an electric type boss, so that means it is very weak to poison, and it is a normal damage with ice and has insane resistances to both fire and electric. Its a recommended attribute resistant would be about 3100, which is a lot at this point in the game, especially the runner. The person who's playing the runner, if you make sure, you got to make sure that your resistance to electric is as high as possible. And if you do that, you'll have a really good shot at defeating the Hanged Man for sure. On top of that, you got to make sure that your gunners in the immunity phase have very strong and precise toxic weapons. I personally used a scout rifle that had very strong toxic damage, and I constantly was just poking and prodding at the mouth of the Hanged Man during the immunity phase as my runner was trying to survive and hold that cube. So all in all, the Hanged Man is not a very tough boss, but the mechanics cause for a lot of teamwork to defeat it. I mean, that's a very cool aspect of this arena more than any other so far, and I'm glad that they had a boss like this at the end of the game. I thought it was really cool and very unique. So I look forward to the hard mode grind. I've been enjoying it, trying to build up my Viessa to be one of the best in the game. I want a top tier Viessa, ultimately going for the ultimate skin for Viessa as well, which is a grind, as all of you I'm sure are aware. But that's it for the video. I appreciate you guys for hanging out. Have a good one. Peace.